Quite significantly, in fact. For example, they are quite opinionated. The millennials do reach out to brands and to express their opinion, very expressive. And importantly, they are very vocal about what they need. They use social media quite extensively to kind of reach out to brands, either to give feedback or, for example, if they have any issues with the brand. And on the other hand, you have Instagram being used very in a very fantastic way by influencers and consumers to kind of express all about themselves. So this gives a great opportunity for brands to kind of understand better about their consumers. At the same time, it's a challenge for brands how to be proactive, right? How to make sure that you are talking to consumers on a real-time basis. So social listening and those kind of tools play a very important role. So all in all, millennials bring both opportunities and challenges to brands, and they are changing the way marketeers, do their marketing campaigns. For sure, digital. So you have the digital natives who are very savvy on digital across platforms, and brands are scrambling to kind of get their marketing campaigns in place, marketing tactics in place to converse with these millennials and the digital natives. So while digital is very important, and there are so many new platforms that are evolving. In given McDonald's, it's a retail brand. The stores, what we do at the stores with its consumers, so personalization at store, engaging with consumers at store, those are extremely important too. Again, digital is one big technology, right? So digital, be it in point of sale, digital as in social platforms. So all of them are today user driven. That's a big change from traditional media. So the conversations are happening between brands and consumers, two-way communication. I think these technologies only will evolve, and marketers have to kind of grapple with this and kind of evolve with this change. Both are important, but I would view technology as a tool. The creative idea remains paramount. And even when it comes to deployment of technology, thoughts like design thinking becomes very critical. So you need to put a lot of thought process before using the technology, because technology can be used in multiple ways. So it has to fit into your business needs, and it has to fit into the consumer needs that you're talking to. Today's consumer wants personalization, wants brand to engage with them, and brands that win on the consumer experience space will win this battle. Be it, for example, an offline environment at the stores, how you engage with the consumers, or in a digital environment, how you engage with consumers. So a seamless, frictionless experience is key for winning this consumer. So this is a very important, thing that marketers have to keep in mind. So being on top of consumer needs is extremely critical, because consumer needs themselves are evolving. Talking about the food space, what are new trends in food keep changing. So how to be on top of the trends become very important. And before you do any new initiative, the questions to ask are: is it consumer insight based, right? Do you have something that's relevant for the consumer? Those are the questions one needs to ask to make sure that what you deliver is as per consumer expectations. So there are two, three things that are extremely important. One is about consumer insight work. Uh, while there are traditional methods of market research, there are tools like social listening that are available to be on trend with consumers. What are the conversations happening on real time? So much of the insight work that can be done through social listening can be quite spectacular. And so that's one important. How modern is your insight generation work? The other part of it is being relevant to the consumer. So there is a traditional approach of one universal consumer truth. Today, digital being such an environment, you can actually do a very sharper segmentation and reach out to consumers using different set of tactics, different set of content. There's a lot that a marketer can do using, for example, new technologies like and new media like digital. I would say these two things. If you're on top of insight work and if you build engaging content using segmentation, and of course, it all comes to the how good an idea you have, right? So whatever is kind of there based on a good creative idea, your creative work will be that much better. So the importance of creative idea still remains. I think it's very important for brands to personalize experiences for consumer, because today's consumer are looking for that next level of personalization and customization. So be it in an online or offline environment, how can personalization happen? That's one very important thing. In the context of McDonald's, for example, personalization in the context of food. So today, when a consumer comes into our what we call as experience of the future stores, they can select the kind of menu they want using a digital kiosk rather than do it the traditional way. And we have seen consumers extremely engaged with that, because they realize the depth of our menu, and they're able to choose something that they like or their friends like, uh, as opposed to the traditional route where they normally go for one default option or a familiar option. So personalization is extremely important. Brands need to kind of be very engaging in terms of content, what they put out there, and create a lot of buzz, right? So how buzzworthy is your content? I think that's a very important thing out there. And important for brands to measure their whatever they're doing, right? Especially digital provides for high levels of measurability. Are brands leveraging that? Is a very important question that marketers need to ask. Not at all. In fact, India with its variety of consumers, right? Each state, for example, is a nation of its own, be it in terms of food preferences, the media they consume, of course, the culture and the language. So brands need to talk to consumers and engage consumers at that level. And one can easily do that, for example, using modern media. So one size fits all, those days are over. It's all about customizing the marketing mix, including the product to a geography or a state, and talking to them in their language. I think that's a very important tactic now. It all would start from very good insight work to understand that consumer. I think it goes back to the basics. So be it any South market, for example, Tamil Nadu, understanding the nuances of that consumer is extremely important, and appreciating those nuances, because each state is so different. And understand the food habits in the context of the brand is extremely critical. The role the food plays in their culture. Of course, the cultural nuances, right? Because each culture has their own rich traditions. So how do you tap into those traditions to engage with consumers in a very relevant fashion? And of course, the local language. So think local. And being a global brand, for us, local is a key word, right? How do we bring in global experiences in a very local way? So that is extremely important, the mix between global and local for the consumers that we serve to. We have a differentiated strategy for every market, and South is no exception. Every market there has different nuances. Be it, for example, in terms of food, we introduced the dosa masala brioche some time back. It's a very popular product. So that's an example of how we customize food for different cultures, different geographies. Even our marketing mix is very different. Be it multi-language ads, especially on digital, to engage with consumers better. And so in different ways we kind of localize the mix to the consumer. At our stores, we recruit people from local areas so that they are able to converse in a language comfortable for the customer. So these are the different ways in which you localize the marketing mix and make sure that the local part of the brand positioning stays relevant. Personalization, analytics, marketing technology. For us, one of the biggest initiatives has been the consumer experience at the stores, what we call as experience of the future, where we allow consumers to personalize their order at the store through digital kiosks. We do table service. So, and in many ways, we are challenging the QSR category in that sense. And we have guest experience leaders at our stores. And this new initiative has really, propelled not only consumer experience but also and we have seen consumers being very excited with this new format that we have rolled out. So, and this kind of takes the consumer experience at McDonald's to the next level. So that would be the biggest, emphasis that we are going to have for 2020. Buzziness, engaging. Yeah, I would say these are the two buzzwords. Some of the work done by Nike in the recent past has been quite outstanding in the realm of women's empowerment. I think they have a latest campaign called "On Crazy." People call you crazy, and just do it with Nike. I think those are some of the great campaigns that they have done. Also with Colin some time back. So they managed to be on trend. They managed to find topicality, because it's very difficult to find topicality which can appeal to a lot of consumers, and they have been able to do that with fantastic creative ideas. So yeah, it's Nike.